In this video, we're going to demonstrate the Epoxy Plus Designer Metallic Epoxy Floor System. We're going to show you how to install this ocean blue Designer Metallic Epoxy floor with a satin finish high wear urethane. It's really easy to do. Let's show you how. So we've already gone and done all our prep work. We have it primed with our black primer. I've already mixed up the epoxy following all of our written instructions as well as the detailed instructions that we have in our video. So I'm going to apply this now, again at the rate of about 100 square feet per gallon, just by pouring out some ribbons onto the floor here. As a reminder, I'm going to let as much epoxy drain out of the bucket here for a few seconds, but I'm not going to set buckets on the floor like this and leave them overturned. What happens when we do that is any of the unmixed resins that are in the bottom of the bucket, they can drip out onto the floor and they will not harden on the floor. So we don't want to do that. We want to simply pick up the bucket, get rid of it. I'm going to go ahead and get my spike shoes on at this point. And then we're going to squeegee this material around the floor using our flat blade squeegee. Again, it's just a real simple, quick process. I'm just trying to move material around on the floor. Then we'll come back with our rollers and fill everything in. Okay. Now, it's okay if we have some bare spots while squeegeeing the material, and it's okay that we're not getting all the way up against the wall. We'll take care of all that with our rollers. We're just trying to get some material pretty much everywhere. And this epoxy can be slippery, so we want to make sure we're careful as we're walking with our spike shoes. So we've got a good 45 minutes to work with this product, and as we've highlighted in all of our installation videos, we're only mixing up a batch at a time. So when we determine our area that we're spreading this batch in, we just work within that area. We're squeegeeing it, back rolling it, completing all of the steps, and that 45 minutes is plenty of time for us to be able to accomplish that. So now that we've gone ahead and got everything squeegeed out, I'm bringing a little bit of a puddle to this part of the floor, and I'm going to grab the roller and I'm going to show you why. So I've got two rollers here. They're both 3/8 nap rollers, but I got an 18-inch roller and I've got our edge roller. And to start, I want to saturate this roller in this little puddle that I created. These roller covers really hold a lot of material. So we're going to start off just by saturating this, and then we'll start to roll out the rest of the floor. All right, so we just start rolling here. Now, we can do it a couple different ways. We can choose to cut in our edges first, or we can do our first pass with our 18-inch roller out here in the field and then come back with the edge roller. So that's what I'm going to do on this floor. And again, because we're using just a single color here, we're able to put it down thinner than we would if we were doing a two-color combination. So it's going to look like it's not covering and hiding as we start to roll. Some of that black primer is still going to show through, and that's fine. The epoxy is going to continue to flow. It's going to level. It's going to move, and it will eventually fill all of that in. So our job right now is just to kind of help it fill in those areas and to move it around the floor. And you can see how quickly this gets done with an 18-inch roller. All right, so that gets us to where we want to be here on the first pass. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to cut in the edges here a little bit. So same thing, I'm just going to get the roller wet. And then we'll quickly pass the roller right to the edge here. And again, it's thin, but it will continue to flow and fill in. All right, so our edges are done, and now I want to roll this again just to kind of help it to continue to move around. You can even hear the different sound in the roller now. It's not as sticky sounding because we've been able to now spread it pretty evenly across the floor. All right, so that's basically 2 passes with the roller. I've got the time, so I'm going to go ahead and roll it out a 3rd time. Then we're going to get off of it. We're going to leave it alone for about 30 minutes or so, and we're going to come back and we're going to do the alcohol technique on this floor. So I'll finish off with one last pass here. So we've allowed this to sit for about 30 minutes here, and we're going to go ahead and do our alcohol technique. Now, you might need to wait a little bit longer depending on the temperature that you're doing this in, humidity, thickness, all that kind of stuff. You go over to a small corner somewhere. You shoot a little bit of the alcohol. You wait 10 or 15 minutes to see if the modeling holds. If it does, you can go ahead and proceed with the whole floor. If not, you just wait a little bit longer and you keep testing until you're getting the result that you want. In this case, we're ready to go. We've got denatured alcohol. You can use isopropyl alcohol if you want. We're using this handheld sprayer. I like it the best. It doesn't give us the mist that a lot of sprayers do, but we're able to control it and get droplets. So it's just a matter of spraying like this, and you'll notice that I'm just pressing the trigger just a little bit, and I'm getting this more of a droplet, not a mist pattern coming out of it. And I'm just randomly going to hit it all over the floor. And this really helps to add this beautiful mottled patterning to the floor, gives it some more visual interest, and especially when you're doing a one color floor like this, it can really enhance the whole overall look of the floor. And this is really, really easy to do. You can dictate how much of it you want. You can do a certain amount, look at it for 10 minutes or so, and then if you want to add more, add more. But you can see how really it starts to produce some different shades in the pigment. Just a really easy technique to really enhance the whole overall look of the floor. So I'll finish spraying this out, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we'll put on our urethane top coat. All right, so we've demonstrated another single color Designer Metallic Epoxy floor. This time we went with the ocean blue, and you can see the results are still really, really nice. It's a nice way to get a beautiful floor, but also at the same time save a little bit of money because we're able to spread it at a greater coverage rate than we would if we were doing 2 colors and trying to blend them on the floor. So it's a nice option that we have. And of course, we went ahead and we did the alcohol technique as well on the floor. So it added just another bit of visual interest to the floor. But now we want to protect this, and we're going to go with our high wear urethane, and we're going to do it in the full satin finish. Now, I've already gone and mixed it up. We have plenty of videos that show you how to mix up the product. We're just going to give another demonstration here of how to install it. So I've mixed it up in the can that it comes in. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to whip it up just real quick here so that that crushed aluminum oxide that settles in the bottom can get re-suspended here. And then I'm going to pour some into my application tray. And then I'm going to take this and set it off to the side. Now again, we're only pouring a little bit into the tray at a time because again, that aluminum oxide will settle. If we fill up our tray, it's all going to want to settle to the bottom of the tray. So we're just going to do a little bit at a time. When we need to refill it, we'll whip it back up and add some more. As always, we're going to start with our edges. So we go ahead and we'll get our roller saturated. And you see a little trick here. We've added a garbage bag as a liner to our roller tray. So that way we'll be able to continue to reuse it. But now we're simply going to just put a thin coat along our edge here. And again, at first, the roller really soaks up the material. So in this room here, we're going to go about halfway on our edges. And now we'll come back and we'll begin doing the main part of the floor. Again, the roller cover is going to soak up a lot of material, especially right at the beginning. So it might take a minute or two here to get it nice and saturated. We don't want it dripping, but we want to get it nice and saturated. And then we come and we do about a 4 foot by 4 foot or 5 foot by 5 foot section. You cannot overroll this product, so we're going to roll very thoroughly, make sure we have not missed any spots, get this rolled out really thin. It's 500 square feet per kit, so we want to make sure we install it at that rate. We can come in here and we can roll it back the other way as well. And it requires a little bit of effort to get this rolled out properly. We're putting pressure on the roller. And that's it. There's our first section done. Now you don't need to wear your spiked shoes to install this. You should be able to do it without it. However, if you want to, or if you miss a spot, you would be able to walk in it with your spiked shoes, go and make any correction that's needed, and then just roll back out. So I'm rolling back into the first section again, not adding any more material, just rolling it again. And you can see when done correctly, there's no roller marks. So it's a thin coat. The satin finish gives it a beautiful sheen to the floor. It adds just a tremendous amount of durability. It adds a very slight texture to the floor as well, but it's a beautiful finish. Again, I'm rolling back into the previous section without adding any more material. All right, so I need to fill up the tray, so I'm going to just give it a little quick mix. There we go. Pour some more in there. So by now the roller cover is pretty saturated, so it's going to start spreading a little bit further now. I'm not going to need quite as much each time I dunk it. So I've added this next section below the top section there, but I want to make sure that this section now is thoroughly blended in with the top section. So I'm going to roll back up into that top section there, just to make sure everything blends and is evened out. All right, that looks good. All right, so that's the process there, and you would just continue on doing that in small little 4 foot by 4 foot or 5 foot by 5 foot sections all the way throughout your whole entire space. This is going to take overnight to dry, and we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to show you what the finished result is. So here's the finished result of our ocean blue metallic epoxy floor with the full satin high wear urethane finish. And as you can see, it turned out really, really nice. And this is just one example of what can be done with a single color of Designer Metallic Epoxy. We have 24 different colors that you can choose from, and by going with one color, it's easier to install, it's faster to install, and it's more economical to install. If you have any questions about this particular color or combination or about the process in general, feel free to hit us up with a comment or a question below, or you can contact us through our website at www.epoxyplus.com. Thanks for watching.